Good evening, race fans, and welcome here to Indianapolis tonight for the Speedway 175. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight is Brent Jones. Unfortunately, Chris Wright, a little under the weather this evening, won't be able to join us, but we got Brent here tonight. Brent, how you doing?
Oh, I'm glad to be back up here on a Monday night. Just feels like everything's right in the world. I mean, we're at the Brickyard. We're on the stock with the stock cars, the way it should be.
Absolutely lines up perfect coming out of NASCAR weekend over there at the Brickyard. Tonight, of course, we do have 70 laps here at the Brickyard. 4 sets of tires for these drivers, actually 5, as they have one set that they will start tonight's event on. As we take a look here, of course, you see the bricks, you see the field. As we're going to go through the starting grid here tonight, rolling off from the pole in the number 2 machine, that is Tate Lytle alongside Justin Fuller. Row number 2, Kean Raleigh, Nick Massey. Row 3, Chad Frankenfield alongside Braxton DeWeese. Row number 4, Matthew Weeks alongside Ethan Burrell, John Cutlip, and Trey Eidson round out the top 10. Tyler Popp, Ethan Stanley there in row number 6. Jeff Green and Scott Crump in row number 7. Leighton Norgard, Joe Francis make up row number 8. With Jesse Racimus and Tyler Fody in row 9. Johnny Thomas and Hunter Smith in row 10. Dustin Dewar, Josh Robin there in the 11th row. Jess Story and Andrew Hardcastle in row number 12. Row 13 tonight, Jacob Adams alongside Jaden Racimus. Row 14, Trey Holmes and Vincent Isabella. And in row 15, rounding out the top 30, Jay Kaner and David Carpenter. Just behind them, Gerald Campbell and Richard Hines make up row 16. Row 17, Rory Collins and Garrison Hogan, with row 18 tonight, Latham Joyner and Harrison Talon. That is your 36 car field here at the Brickyard. Of course, tonight, as we see, Tate Lytle on the pole, Brent. That's always a strong competitor here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. But why don't we go ahead and make some picks, and we'll kick it off with the pick from Chris Wright. He was able to give us a pick leading into tonight, and he has opted to go with Ethan Burrell.
I think we're going to look at Zeus finally winning at the Brickyard tonight. Matthew Weeks is my pick for tonight.
Matthew Weeks, the pick for Brent Jones. He's going to roll off up there in the top 10. I'm going to go with a driver that has been pretty strong at this racetrack in the past. Some might say he's a bit of an addict. I'm going to go with Chad J. That is Chad Frankenfield, who is rolling off in position number 5 tonight to pick up the victory. Now, Brent, from your experience here, obviously last time we came here was over a year ago. What is going to be the biggest challenge for these drivers tonight?
Trap position. It's a big key, and if you don't have it, patience has got to be your next game. You can't just send off on people. It's got to buy your time, save your equipment, hope there to be in the end, and have a fighting chance for a good finish.
That's always the goal as the pace car gets set to make the turn onto pit road. It's going to be Tate Lytle that will step on the loud pedal first to get us underway, as the green flag is in the hand of the starter. The green flag is in the air, and we are underway here in the Speedway 175. It's Tate Lytle and Justin Fuller out front here to kick this thing off. And immediately you do see Justin Fuller with a great run on that outside lane, able to work his way by the Tate Lytle machine, take the early lead here tonight at Indianapolis. A lot of work is going to be made here from these drivers coming up from the rear. I'm going to take a look here. Garrison Hogan, Gerald Campbell among those that are going to have to work their way forward. Latham Joyner as well. Always strong competitors. We're looking 3 wide already towards the rear. That backs down as we see Garrison Hogan take a look to the inside. He gets by Dave Carpenter now, gets set to pass the Jay Kaner machine. We're going to be watching battles all throughout the field tonight, as you see Hunter Smith and Johnny Thomas side by side there. Jump back up towards the front. It's Justin Fuller continuing to lead here at the end of lap number 1. Long laps here, Brent. 55 seconds for a lot of these drivers, some of them over a minute, as they're not quite able to get up to that speed that the leaders have right off the bat.
Yep, and these laps take an eternity around here, but I can tell you, if you go green for a while, they surprisingly go quick in your mind. I can tell you from experience.
And taking a look here, this driver driving the 48, that's a big, weird-looking 8 on that machine. That is Nick Massey making his season debut. Haven't really seen him too much this season in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series, but it is always a pleasure when we have Nick Massey in the field, and it's great to see him here tonight as we see Chad Frankenfield taking a look to the inside of Kean Raleigh, trying to work his way up to position number 3. He's looking for second as well as he tucks in right behind Tate Lytle. Lytle, of course, a multi-time champion here in the Elite Racing League. Chad Frankenfield, one of those champs as well. And Justin Fuller, this driver, Brent, I know you haven't been around as much recently here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series, but between this series, the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, and just about every series Justin Fuller's in, he has been very, very fast.
And I love to watch my tape of new competitors in this league, and he's probably one of the more impressive ones I've been able to watch in a while. And he's just that good right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Fuller going to be a driver to watch here for quite some time in the Elite Racing League. And I didn't mention it when we kicked this off, but I have to give a shout out to the Funky Fiddler who played us in tonight with his rendition of Back Home Again in Indiana. Always a great song, or an anthem really, to work your way into an event here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and one name I wanted to briefly put out there, Tyler Fody has not moved up at all from his 18th place starting spot yet. Surprisingly, not a strong qualifying for him tonight.
Yeah, this racetrack here, Brent, I was about to call you Chris. I'm just so used to that bugger getting in my face and talking to my ear off here. But this racetrack, not the easiest to race at, as we see Josh Robin have a bit of a moment there, able to gather that machine back up. But it kind of races more like a road course than anything. In my opinion, the corners are set up like a road course, and a lot of the rest of the racetrack is, as you see a pass for the lead, move Chad J, that's Frankenfield. He jumps out to the race lead ahead of Justin Fuller. Fuller tucks in right behind.
Yep. He tried to cross him a little bit, thought of it. As you were saying about the whole rhythm, the road course thing, this track, you have to nail every apex. People think, on TV they can just send it in every corner and they just go for top speed. That's far from the truth with this track. You actually have to nail every corner, every apex perfect, or you're going to have a bad lap almost every time.
That's exactly it. You definitely have to nail each and every, not just every corner, but every part of the corner here at Indianapolis. Not the easiest racetrack. Definitely one of the most prestigious out there. I mean, you saw the emotion yesterday out of Michael McDowell in the NASCAR Cup Series race when he picked up the victory. Of course, McDowell does have a background in open wheel, came up through the open wheel ranks, just unfortunately couldn't move forward in that path, and able to pick up a victory at Indy. And I think he was almost more emotional than his Daytona 500 victory, which that's the pinnacle of NASCAR, the Daytona 500. As I just want to point out here, Dustin Dewar, he is falling back. He has lost a couple spots here on this lap. Looks like 3 positions. Jaden Racimus also losing a couple.
Yep, and that's the thing. And it takes a perfect lap, and a lot of these guys, who don't run here a lot, will struggle with that.
Driver that does have some real-world experience here. Of course, we're talking about Jeff Green, the 2000 Busch Series champion, driver of the number 38 machine. Home Place beer on the side of that car. Always good to see Jeff out here with us, giving these guys an opportunity to learn from one of the best that we've had here in the real world. So, yeah. Always nice to race around Jeff Green. He definitely doesn't take it easy on these guys, that's for sure.
Yep. I was watching the 98 Brickyard 400, and he was running like top 10 in that money store, like 42, I can't remember, 42 car.
Well, I was 2 when that happened, Brent, so I was definitely not watching that one.
I was watching on YouTube the other night.
Okay, I was going to say. I was like, I think we're around the same age. You were watching this when you were in diapers?
Okay, it was a 46 car. I got it now. got it.
There we go. And we are already 10% of the way through this one, lap 7. Actually coming to 8 now here. 63 laps to go. It's Chad J. Mr. Frankenfield out front ahead of Justin Fuller, Tate Lytle, Kean Raleigh, Matthew Weeks. That's the top 5. Nick Massey, Ethan Stanley, Braxton DeWeese. And let's take a moment here to talk about this gentleman right here, Trey Eidson. He's on a roll, Brent. He's picked up 2 victories in the past week here in Elite after having none.
Yeah, another newer driver in this league. It's also left an impression on me. I think we ran the truck race at Coda, and he had good pace.
Absolutely.
We got a guy.
That's Vincent Isabella coming onto the racetrack. He missed the start.
Yeah, he's fallen out of the server twice since the start. He's been dealing with a lot of the issues I've been having lately.
Just as a team owner, I'm going to take control of the camera here, take a look, see where my guys are running currently. As we're going to go back to 23rd is where we find my top driver at this point in the running. That is Jacob Adams in car 52. He's got Mountain Dew on board that machine. Currently in 23rd. Jess Story back in 27th. That looks like the only 2 of my guys here tonight. Hopefully they can work their way forward. One thing to keep an eye on, as I'm seeing on my track map, I have another separate map here showing me who's where on the racetrack. I'm seeing Chad closing in on the 82 of Vincent Isabella. Isabella currently going through turn number 4 as Chad enters turn 3 here. So soon enough, we're going to have to deal with a little bit of lap traffic for Chad Frankenfield. And another thing to point out here, Jess Story currently holding the rear of the field with a bit of a gap to Jaden Mercemus and Gerald Campbell, as well as Trey Holmes just behind him. That's about 2 seconds separating 27th and 28th on the grid, so a bit of separation in the field.
One of the best things about this track is even if you're not really up to a full pace, it still takes about, even with green flag stops, over half this race to get lapped. So it's one of those tracks that if you just even understand.
Harrison Talon in the wall.
Jeez Louise.
Harrison Talon up into the outside wall. A bit of contact for him. He's able to continue on. That was actually, for those of you that do understand iRacing lingo, that is what's called a 0x. Andrew Hardcastle. He just had a moment. He's fallen back a little bit here. He's getting passed by the group that was about 2 seconds behind him. So I'm not too sure what happened to Andrew. Looks like he's got some front end damage on that 22 machine. We'll see if he takes it pit side this time.
Yep, he looks like
no, he thought about it, Brent. He absolutely thought about it, but opted to stay on the race course. And
yeah, this track is so important with front arrow. Like, I went to that with Oscar this Thursday, as a matter of fact. I was on the lap one race half, and even if you have full power, it still can rob you of like important speed later in the race.
We're gonna take this opportunity. I know he's got some fans in the stands. Let's ride on board for a lap here with Braxton DeWeese, driver the number 27 for Shift Esports. He's working his way around the racetrack, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, he's having a solid run up there. He's been really stepping up his game so far this season when he's been able to finish races.
Yeah, I think a big opportunity this season was presented to Braxton by Shift Esports. Seth Rawls and company over there, they run a good ship. We've had the chance to race with them, Brent, numerous times in various leagues, and Shift Esports always brings a top-notch quality program to the racetrack, and you're really seeing it. One thing I'm seeing here is, actually, that makes sense. I was going to say Braxton's struggling a little bit with the tires, but he was just getting passed by Ethan Burrell.
Ethan will carve up this field in no time the way he's driving right now. It's like he's got his long-run speed on at this point.
Ethan slowly working his way forward. And one thing I do want to point out, Vincent Isabella is not slow out there on the racetrack. He's actually running the quickest lap times currently on the track, just unfortunately a couple laps down. So I don't actually believe Chad Frankenfield will catch that 82 machine, as we have Andrew Hardcastle into the wall. We're going to stay green. Jaden Mercemus picks up a 2X out there, so a bit of contact for the younger Mercemus as we see Harrison Talon closing in on Andrew Hardcastle.
Andrew has to be struggling with that car at this point.
Yeah, I think the damage is definitely affecting the Hardcastle machine. Aerodynamics play a huge part at this racetrack, as you know, Brent, and as I do as well. That's really something that will come into play and has come into play here for Andrew Hardcastle. We're going to jump back to the front, show you the gap between first and second. Chad Frankenfield already 1.10 seconds over, or 1.1 seconds, I guess you should say, over Justin Fuller, who is now 0.2 of a second ahead of Tate Lytle. Kean Raleigh about half a second back. Then it's Matthew Weeks, not too far behind him, as we see Nick Massey. He's taking a peek. He wanted to look, but opted not to that time to the inside. One driver we haven't talked about yet tonight, but we're going to take the chance to do so, Scott Crump, currently running in position number 12. He's trying to work his way forward. Started in 14th, up 2 spots.
Yeah, he didn't qualify. Yeah, he actually had a decent lap, but just
we have
to the field, so might be an eyeball to look on here.
We had a potential incident there, a bit of contact between Jay Kaner and Josh Robin. Both drivers able to continue on without too much of a worry on the racetrack. So still clean and green thus far. 13 laps in, 57 to go. We're taking a look at John Cutlip there in the Wawa number 28. Again, still taking some time to adjust to that not being Josh Clark.
Yep,
Johnny Thomas coming to pit road. Ooh, we have
got
a
trouble.
safety car out on the
Oh,
racetrack.
it's Harry.
Harrison Talon, Jaden Racimus, and Andrew Hardcastle. We're going to go ahead and take a peek and see what just happened.
That's
Multiple cars involved.
That was a big break for those who were about to come in there, because they could just drive through the pits and just keep going at this point.
So we're going to take a peek here, see what happened. Oh, Harrison Talon.
Yep, well, got on the gas too
It's
quick.
reading to me that Andrew Hardcastle was also involved in this, but no, I don't believe so. I'm going to back this up a little bit further, just make sure that we're not missing anything here. No, I think that might have been just a lap ahead, but yeah, Harrison Talon.
It's just a classic example.
That's an easy one here, Brent.
Yep, indeed. Looks like a classic example of just gassing up off the line too soon and just hitting the wall.
That'll be a tally on the 51 of Harrison Talon. I don't have to wait for race control to make that call. I'm going to go ahead and make it now. Tally on the 51 of Harrison Talon. That's his first. So that'll be a tally on Harrison Talon. That's something different this season here for myself here in race control. Gives me the opportunity to go ahead and make that call out here on the track. We'll take note of it. We'll let the drivers know who has been issued the tally. That one, of course, took place on lap 14 tonight, the first of the evening for Harrison Talon. And Brent, what we're going to do is, as these drivers come down pit road and take their pit stop, we're going to take our first one of the night, pay some bills, and we'll be right back here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere. It's the Speedway 175 at Indianapolis.
Isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here at Indianapolis. It's the Speedway 175. We just got under our first caution of the evening due to a solo spin by Harrison Talon in car 51. That is his first tally of the night. Brent, why don't you walk us through what we've seen thus far?
This has been pretty much, I froze here. Give me a moment. This has been pretty much a wait and see type game. We saw the first strategy moves try to be pulled before that caution there, and they didn't turn out well. So that's gonna be a good reminder for the rest of these guys that strategy does come with pros and cons as this race goes along.
So unfortunately, just an update for those Johnny Thomas fans at home. We did see him go down pit road just before the caution came out. Unfortunately, due to the timing of the yellow, he actually entered a closed pit. So typically iRacing would issue a time penalty, but what we've opted to do instead, just to help Johnny out, is clear that penalty and just give him an end of longest line. So he's going to have to come from the tail of the field. Josh Robin and Latham Joyner are going to join him back there as well after opting to come down on the 1 to green lap.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do regardless. I think they couldn't just forecast any of that. Yeah, this restart should be interesting. These guys got all 4 fresh tires.
Let's take a run. Let's take a run through the top 10 on the on the front row. Justin Fuller and Chad Frankfield, the control car. Then is Lytle and Raleigh, Eidson and Stanley, Burrell, Massey, Weeks, and Cutlip. As the pace car about to take the turn onto pit road, we are back underway here in the Speedway 175 green on lap number 19.
Looks like Tyler Pop had trouble going on that restart.
Looks like Harrison Talon did not let the field go by.
Oh, he got a late up against the 101. He's up high. He's trying to get back going.
Yeah, one thing that Chad just pointed out.
No restart zones here. You still have the legacy restart boxes. Bodie's about to send it 3
side
deep
by
long.
side for the race lead. Brent, side by side. It's Fuller on the inside, gets by Frankenfield.
Yep, and Fuller did a complete masterclass how to play a pass here.
Absolutely. And taking a look, you did mention a battle back here. Leighton Norgard, Tyler Fody, Garrison Hogan.
Yeah, Fody was free for a moment, and Green Garrison with him on the front stretch earlier. Looks like that settled down for the moment.
Oh, that got a little slicey and dicey towards the rear. Jeff Green looks like he jumped into line. Leighton Norgard, he currently holds that spot over Tyler Fody. That is position number 15 out there on the racetrack. As we see Justin Fuller now taking his chance to pull a bit of a lead on Chad Frankenfield. Johnny Thomas starting his ascent up through the field again. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, timing caught him a little bit too far back. Just got some quick times on the field here. 2 personal bests and an overall best. Justin Fuller just set the quick time of the race with a 53.621. That is 0.2 of a second, nearly 3 quicker than the lap set by Chad Frankenfield. So Justin Fuller, very quick out there.
Yep, and that...
Now, Brent, obviously already almost a third of the way through this one. these guys are putting on a good pace thus far. Please touch wood right there because I probably just jinxed it. But these guys doing a nice job thus far as we're watching some battles throughout the field. Joe Francis, he's got his barbecue chip-powered machine working his way forward up to position 17. Looks like Harrison Talon just had himself another moment with the outside wall, picking up some additional incident points here. That's never helpful.
What a save by Gerald back there.
Taking a look, Gerald Campbell, you mentioned he just had himself a big save. That was fresh off of a quick lap. A bit of contact between himself and Jacob Adams is what fueled that one. Gerald's response to Jacob's apology is, it's Indy. So I guess that is how Gerald feels about this racetrack.
It's a hard try to anticipate when someone's slower, especially when you get in that corner. If you don't time your checkup right, you could easily do what just happened right there.
So one driver I do want to point out here, Garrison Hogan, started 34th. Currently scored in position 16. He's looking for 15th now as he takes a peek just to the inside of Tyler Fody. He's going to stay in line, but watch for that number 1 machine to work his way forward and likely find himself in the top 10 in the late going of this race. But one thing to point out, with him starting 34th, his pit box is going to be way at the rear. So he's going to lose time every time he goes down pit road.
Yep, and it will only hurt him if we go green from here. I will tell you
that's
that much
exactly
right now.
it. As we do see, looks like Andrew Hardcastle still struggling at the rear. He's fallen off a little bit. Harrison Talon, also a driver that continues to struggle out here. He's gotten the wall a couple of times. Jaden Mercedes just had himself another kiss with the outside wall. I guess if there's any way to have your first kiss, it might as well be with Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as Mercedes struggling a little bit out there on the racetrack. Taking a look for his dad in the field here. I don't think Jesse's here tonight.
Oh, no, he actually is. He is...
oh, yes, he's currently running 13th.
Yep.
Jesse Racimus in the number 70 Caterpillar machine. Always nice paint schemes on the Jesse Racimus machine as we see another battle for the race lead. It's Chad Frankenfield on the inside, Justin Fuller up top. Fuller, of course, trying to hold off a very hard-charging Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield trying to get back to that lead that he had a little bit earlier in this event, and he was pulling away last time he was out front, and there he is. He has gotten the spot on Justin Fuller. Fuller's going to have to back up a little bit here through 1 and 2. He's actually holding it a little bit further than I would have thought. Actually, that's turn 1. The corners are really big here at Indianapolis. It's kind of an 8-corner racetrack, but they call it 4.
Ooh. I was going to say earlier, Chad's car seems to be more dialed in.
Chad's serpentining already.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting as the race progresses.
Be more aggressive as later goes on, but he seems like his car's more dialed in the longer we go on a run here.
So what I'm seeing out here on the racetrack is we've got most of the field together up to Jay Kaner. Then there's a little gap back to Gerald Campbell, and then Gerald has the field up to Dave Carpenter. And behind Carpenter, there's a gap back to Richard Hines. And then another gap back to Jaden Mercedes, who is there with Rory Collins and Harrison Talon. Talon a lap down at this point. And Isabella is way off of the field. 7 laps down at this point. Of course, missed the green flag here tonight, as a Leighton Norgard gets passed by Jeff Green. Here comes Hunter Smith. Smith to the inside of Norgard. That's a driver that's falling here from the restart, Brent. A Leighton Norgard finds himself holding on just barely to the top 20 at this point. And actually, as I say that, he's getting passed by Jess Story. Jess writing a new chapter in his book tonight, going to the inside of a Leighton Norgard, and he's going to move him to the rear.
Yeah, Leighton's been struggling
20.
pretty much since the restart when he brushed the wall there. I think he's recovered since.
And
Well,
as
we
you
got
see,
Jake Kaner thought about 3 there in that battle there, but he thought better of it.
yeah, Jake Kaner taking little peeks, trying to make sure that he can stay in a position that he likes here without doing anything too crazy at this point, which you definitely don't want to see. But just looking through, Trey Eidson up into position number 4. He's done a nice job thus far. Started back in 10th, now running 4th as we see Jess Story and Leighton Norgard trading positions once again. We're going to jump up to our chopper cam here and watch that side-by-side battle. Here comes Jake Kaner. He's all the way down. Brent, that inside groove there, if you can get your wheels down on what's almost a flat part of this racetrack, I find it helps corner a lot better.
Yep, and the old saying, slow is fast. When in doubt with this track, you're learning on iRacing. That's the way to do it right there. What Jay just did right there. Oh, we got Gerald, another great save.
Gerald Campbell, the saves keep on coming as he gets passed by Trey Holmes. Holmes goes on by. Here comes Jacob Adams. Jake goes to the inside of Gerald as well. Of course, Gerald just trying to hold on. As actually, speaking of holding on, Justin Fuller now under pressure from Tate Lytle. That's who he is. As Fuller actually gets the outside wall right there, Brent.
Yeah, ooh, that's going to be interesting there going forward. If it does any damage or not.
As you see, Tate Lytle gets on by Justin Fuller. Fuller just moves out of the way, lets him go on through. Try not to hold him up too much. Just taking a look through the field, another driver that's had some issues here tonight, Josh Robin. Robin down 10 spots from the start of this one. He's been in the outside wall. You can see the damage on his right side. That definitely has not helped him here this evening, but that Mountain Dew machine trying to work his way forward as I see another incident pickup for Harrison Talon, who I believe just got the outside wall for the 3rd time here tonight.
I think
He's going to let Rory Collins. I thought he was.
I thought he was going to run by there too.
But I guess he thought better of it as we see up front Chad Frankenfield holding a half a second lead over Tate Lytle. Then it's Justin Fuller, Trey Eidson, Ethan Stanley. Stanley's a driver you're going to have to watch here as we approach the halfway point of tonight's event. Of
Stanley's
course, that's exactly why I was saying that, Brent. He is a road course ace here. Well, everywhere that you turn left and right, but this track, of course, running like a road course, you have to watch for Ethan Stanley.
Oh, we just had a moment there between Latham and Jeff Story there, and now here comes Trey setting it 3 wide.
Ooh, and these guys are not huge fans of each other. So
Latham thought about sticking with
nearly,
it, but yeah, he backed out of it.
Latham nearly got into Trey Holmes.
He thought about sticking with it in the 3, and he thought better of it last possible second.
As Trey Holmes dives to the inside of Jess Story towards the rear. I do see Johnny Thomas swerving. He's trying to work his way forward. Gets by Jacob Adams. Leighton Norgard having a bit of a moment there. He gets passed by Jess Story as well. Just behind him, Latham Joyner trying to work his way forward.
Yeah, Latham has absolutely been slipping.
Ooh, there's a little bit of a block. Kean Raleigh throwing a block on Ethan Burrell. I don't know that Ethan's going to be too pleased with that one.
Yeah, a little early for that, especially in that part of the field there.
I thought Kean was coming back for a bit of a touch on that 37 machine as you see them side by side here. We're going to jump up to contact. That is indeed contact between the 37 and the 68. Kean Raleigh just explaining that he's given up. Doesn't want to battle too much anymore. Jaden Racimus picks up a couple incident points there. I believe he got the outside wall once again. You can see him battling looseness with that machine. And now Brent obviously looking through the field. Latham Joyner trying to work his way forward as Jess Story falling back now. Story, I believe, got up and out of the groove, getting passed by Leighton Norgard. Johnny Thomas just behind Norgard, going to look to get by the Jess Story machine as well. Jacob Adams back there towards the rear of the field as well, not too far behind that Jess Story machine. So a couple drivers struggling here in this one.
Yeah, it's so easy to struggle. Like, even the best on this service do find this track challenging. Like, it's not an easy track to pick up. As I was explaining earlier, it takes so much to learn, and once you learn it, it becomes so much easier. But the learning part is the hardest part.
Absolutely. Definitely a tough part of this racetrack, as you see a battle here. Tyler Pop and John Cutlip, they're side by side for position. As Pop gonna jump back in front of Cutlip, able to hold on to that 11th position. As we hear Ethan Burrell giving a bit of a thank you there to Ethan Stanley. Move Burrell up to position number 5. He's up in the top 5, and he's chasing down Justin Fuller, who has fallen back, was your leader for a little bit here tonight. Now scored in position number 4, just behind Trey Eidson, Tate Lytle, and Chad Frankenfield. As Jess Story gonna take it pit side. The number 29 machine coming down.
He's the first to call a shot on strategy here in this
20 laps from the last time they came down pit road. We will see if Jess Story is just coming for tires. Doesn't look like he hits his box. He does.
Oh, no.
And Jess Story,
well,
I believe, has just called it a night.
That's a strategy I didn't expect.
I believe Jess Story has just left the server.
Yep,
as his pit box, disappeared there rather quickly. So that usually is a sign that they're not too pleased. One thing to point out here, Tate Lytle closing that gap on Chad Frankenfield. Will be halfway at the conclusion of lap 35. And it looks to be Frankenfield that's going to be the halfway leader. And I do believe that picks up a bonus point for leading in halfway.
Indeed. Yeah, I was going to touch on Fuller. It looks like he's fallen off a little bit this run compared to the opening run a little bit. Albeit we have gone about the same amount of laps at this point.
As we see Matthew Weeks throwing a bit of a block there on the Ethan Stanley machine. Actually, that's Nick Massey. I do apologize. A bit of a variation of those paint schemes. And I want to take a quick second here, just speaking of these Pro Edge guys, to send a happy birthday shout out to a couple guys connected to Pro Edge. Both Austin and Kurt celebrating birthdays here this evening. I believe both of them turning maybe 12 or 40, I don't know. But happy birthday to both of you guys, and hopefully you guys can celebrate with your favorite driver in victory lane. And as of right now, if Chad Frankenfield's your favorite driver, well, that's looking all right. As I say that, he almost hits the outside wall.
My. Tate's going to take advantage.
That would have been an instant commentator's curse.
Yep. Tate might try taking advantage here in the 3 here.
Andrew Hardcastle comes down pit road. Josh Robin also coming down pit road. Hardcastle had additional contact.
Okay, these are strategy calls. These guys are in the back. I don't think they got much to lose by calling their shot early here.
No, that's it's going to be interesting to see who follows. I still think we're a bit away from another pit stop as we see a pass here. Hunter Smith, Jesse Racimus side by side. We're going to have to keep a close eye on that gap between the leaders as well. Josh Robin does exit pit road. Andrew Hardcastle going to take an extended visit to pit road, see if he can get some damage fixed up, as Tate Lytle closing that gap on the Chad Frankenfield machine. As we look out from the rear of the Frankenfield machine, Tate Lytle inching closer and closer. As just a quick update, Andrew Hardcastle still on pit road.
Looks like he's going to snake again on the backstretch.
Yeah, Chad knows he's got to block the runs here by Tate Lytle if he wants to hold the lead, but Tate all over that number 15 machine. If he was sweating, there would be sweat on the 15's rear end because Tate is all up in it right now as he closes up. That sounded terrible, by the way. As he closes into the rear of the Chad Frankenfield machine. Watch just behind them as well. Trey Eidson inching closer and closer with each and every lap. 38 down, 33 to go with Frankenfield, Lytle, and Eidson the top three. Fuller and Burrell rounding out the top five as here comes Jacob Adams to continue the trend of pit stops. I do believe he'll make it down scot-free. It looked like he might have been a little quick, but I think he was able to get it woed up just in time. And what's going to happen now, Brent, just quickly to jump in here, if we do stay green, what'll happen is you're going to see more and more lap traffic come into play as these drivers come down at various points, have various delays on pit road, etc., as they work their way around here with just 33 to go.
Yep, and that's the thing with this track is when you're a lap car, you just can't, unless you're on the straightaway, it's so hard to get out of the way, respectfully.
Watching the 52 exit pit road, you can see the leaders just off in that camera shot, so Jacob Adams has to get on the loud pedal quickly. You're going to see him use up all the apron here to gain as much speed as he possibly can. A Leighton Norgard comes down.
Oh, in the grass.
And he does. He stays ahead of the leaders. Not by much, though. But I believe those fresh tires should allow him. You can see way off in the distance that little moving bug off of Chad Frankenfield's nose. That is Jacob Adams. So Adams, currently the last car on the lead lap, as a Leighton Norgard has come to the attention of his pit crew. We're going to have to keep our eyes peeled here as Chad Frankenfield has a brief blinking moment there. Harrison Talon has another hug with the outside wall, and he comes to a bit of a slow here. Let's see if he continues on.
I think Harry's kissed the wall more than Roger Penske has kissed the bricks as on the Speedway at this point.
Ethan Stanley has come down pit road. That is the first of our leaders to pit. Whoa, Johnny Thomas, did you just see that going by pit road?
That was the Alessio Salazar special right there.
I didn't want to change camera views there as we saw them go on by. That was quite the move by Johnny Thomas. Reminded me of Mark Murphy in one of the events we had on Carb Day this past season with the open wheel cars. He was running that inside wall tighter than I've ever seen before here at Indianapolis. And shout out to Mark. He's one of those guys that really enjoys this kind of racing.
Yeah, shout out to Mark. I know some people rib him, but man, I enjoy his
presence. We're going to keep ribbing Mark. Absolutely. Like, we don't want him to feel special or something because we're not. We want him to feel special because he's on our mind. Just an update for you, Andrew Hardcastle fans. He is still on pit road. And speaking of pit road, here comes the soup can. Jero Campbell. He's going to come down pit road to the attention of his aggressive Eagle pit crew. See what they can do.
I think these leaders at this point are going to stretch that window on fuel as long as they can at this point.
I think you're going to see them try to get to 45 or so, Brent, so they can have a fairly short run to the conclusion of this event. They're also kind of maybe hoping that we get a caution.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. We're approaching that fuel window at this point, too, as well.
As we keep an eye through the field, why don't we go ahead and take a look. Let's find a driver that we haven't really talked about tonight as Tyler Popp comes to pit road. We haven't talked much about him, but of course he opts to come down pit road when we're going to talk about him, but that's all right.
Top 15.
Yeah, very respectable run for Tyler Popp. Like you said, top 15 run. Just an update, Garrison Hogan has just broken into that top 10. Started in 34th, so great gains tonight as the leaders are catching the lap traffic there with the lap traffic. That is Gerald Campbell just ahead of Chad Frankenfield. Don't expect Gerald just to move out of the way either here, Brent, because, well, he likes to make Chad's life a little miserable sometimes.
Yeah, might not be the only one, but he's one that will fight hard to stay on the lead lap, that's for sure.
I do believe I just heard Ethan Burrell indicate that he's coming down pit road we'll keep an eye on that. He's all over the rear end of Justin Fuller, and he has Kean Raleigh behind him. So we just take a look through the field. Let's talk about Rory Collins for a second. Currently running in 25th, having a very respectable evening here tonight, staying out of the way, not getting caught up in any big incidents or anything like that. Still learning these stock cars. He's more of an open wheel guy, and
That's the thing.
I think
about these
Cutlip's
cars.
coming down this time, by the way.
That's just start not casting the die for strategy on the leaders right there. But yeah, about Rory Collins, it is so hard to learn these cars. Even the real life guys have learned that these cars are so much different than Indy cars. It takes time and laps, essentially.
Keep an eye on these leaders. Here comes one of them, Nick Massey, comes down pit road. I thought John Cutlip was coming. He's opted to stay out a little bit further, as I believe Braxton DeWeese just got a piece of that outside wall. Don't worry, you can kiss the outside wall a little bit here, as actually Vincent Isabella had a moment there with Harrison Talon. I want to pull that one up and just have another peek.
10-4.
We're going to take a look here, see what just happened. We're going to rewind that back just a little bit here, folks. See what happened between the two of these guys.
Like they were just having their little form of fun or something out there.
Looks like Harrison drops down all the way.
Oh.
Swap over.
Oh my.
Yeah, it looked like they had some contact, though. Both of them
Interesting.
registering incident points. I'm going to back that up just a little bit further. I think they touched right there. You see Ethan Stanley go by. Vincent Isabella comes up to the rear of Harrison Talon. Oh, Harrison gets the outside wall.
Yep.
Just a little bit of contact there from Vincent into the Harrison Talon machine. Yeah, looks like they're okay. Just wanted to make sure. And as that did happen, folks, Chad Frankenfield and the rest of your, well, not the rest of your leaders, Tate Lytle still out on the racetrack, but Chad did come down pit road. He's currently in the process of exiting and coming back out.
That puts the pressure on the rest of these leaders. Now, when they will come in.
Harrison Talon just had another moment with the outside wall. Matthew Weeks coming down pit road. Hunter Smith also coming down pit road. Tate Lytle, Trey Eidson, Ethan Burrell, Justin Fuller, Kean Raleigh, Scott Crump, Garrison Hogan, John Cutlip, Tyler Fody, Braxton DeWeese among the cars still out on the racetrack. Jeff Green just registered a bit of a moment. I believe he just clipped the grass a little bit there coming off of pit road.
Yeah, that's probably what happened there.
25 to go. Brent, this is Alexander Ned's favorite moment of the race. Why don't we go ahead and, if you'd like to change your race pick, you can definitely go ahead and do so. I'm definitely going to stay with mine of Chad Frankenfield. Of course, you started this one with...
a few weeks, and I'm going to stick with it. Gotta keep gambling. Cleaned out.
Yeah, you went with Ethan Burrell. Oh, no, actually, that was...
That was
not
Chris
you.
Wright.
That was Chris Wright. Kean
Who was in the-
Raleigh coming down.
Who was in the infirmary tonight.
Yeah, he... I mean, when I get a message from Chris saying, I might die, this fever is terrible, well, yeah, go to bed, bud. Don't worry about the broadcast.
Hey, well soon, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Wright, of course, having himself a strong season in just about everything that he's raced thus far, so don't want him to worry too much about being here with us for this broadcast if he's not feeling well. Of course, we got our boy Brent Jones with us.
Yeah.
Always great to have you back up in the booth. Are you going to be here next week, Brent?
We'll see. I got my work schedule for next week has not been put out yet, but we'll see. I'm hoping to be in the booth more times than not the rest of this season.
So one thing I do want to point out, let's see if we can get the track map up on your screen here. Yeah, as you can see in the top right corner of the broadcast screen, there's a lot of cars on the racetrack, and they are everywhere at this point. This is when you start seeing incidents with, well, first of all, everybody but especially leaders going through lap traffic. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as we move on through this event.
And it's not just leaders of lap traffic. It's also like slower cars intermingling with guys with newer tires. It could happen even with that here with the lack of passing opportunities.
Absolutely. As we hear some reports from the field that they are going to come down pit road this time. I believe that was Garrison Hogan that just indicated. And here comes Tate Lytle.
Tate Lytle, there's our leader right there.
Lytle down. Burrell also down. I believe, no, it wasn't Garrison Hogan. I guess Tate might have hit extra puberty this week. His voice sounding very... Oh, it was Trey Holmes. That's who it was.
Yeah, it was
Trey Holmes comes down pit road.
I was going to say something, but I thought you would have... Oh, well.
Brent, let's take a chance to take a look at the points entering tonight. We don't often get a chance really to talk about this because the action gets so deep. But taking a look, top three right now entering tonight's race. All Lake Norman. It's Fody, followed by Crump and Robin. Then it's David Tooker and Trey Eidson, the top five. That is your top five in points here after 3 rounds in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. Also some rookie points to follow. It's Eidson leading by 10 over Raleigh, 12 over Fuller. Speaking of Eidson, here he comes down pit road as your race leader. Then it's DeWeese, Cash James, Jamie Haley, Connor Thompson, Jaden Racimus, and Josh Kosick. Well, a bunch of those rookies not here with us tonight. As the lead gets handed back over to Justin Fuller. Fuller going to retake the lead. He last pit here on lap 16. So pretty much the entire top 10 yet to pit as Braxton DeWeese comes down. Johnny Thomas, actually Dave Carpenter, the last of the cars to not pit. So the top 10 still on the outside looking in.
I think
Ethan Stanley will take over the lead once we cycle through, as long as Chad Frankenfield does not catch him. 21 laps to go here already. The pace flying by here at Indianapolis, Brent.
And yeah, and this is a ticking time bomb for these top 12 if they don't pit here soon. Like, this track is large.
Here comes Fuller and Hogan.
A huge difference.
Yeah, tires definitely making a huge difference. Just an update, Andrew Hardcastle on pit road. He is serving a mechanical black flag, so that is a meatball as it's known. He's getting that taken care of as he's still down there on pit road.
Kaner is also on the pits as well.
Jay Kaner on pit road. Justin Fuller still on pit road. Jaden Racimus has a moment. He gets his car sorted out. Vincent Isabella had an extended stay on pit road. As we cycle through here, Fuller, Hogan, and Kaner all in the process of exiting. I believe Crump coming down. Here he comes. Scrumpy to pit road. Fody to pit road. Cutlip to pit road. Watch for Joyner also to join them. And yes, he does. Jesse Racimus also coming down. Johnny Thomas going to take over the lead. Of course, Johnny Thomas, he's won here before. He is a Indy 500 winner here in the Elite Racing League, so he would love to put his name on this Speedway 175 trophy as well. But one thing to point out, Chad Frankenfield has taken what will be the eventual lead over from Ethan Stanley by about 1.6 seconds, so he wants that chance to really spread his wings a little bit and fly as he works his way forward. Scott Crump comes off of pit road. Harrison Talon with another hit to the outside wall. Another hit. He's hitting it again.
Oh, my goodness. Be careful, Harry.
I believe that 51 might be broken. We'll keep an eye on that machine just to make sure that he does not go around and bring out another caution. If so, that would be his second of the evening. Is Johnny Thomas going to come down pit road? Here comes Harrison Talon as well. He's going to come down and look to get that car fixed up.
Yeah, that should cycle
just make
through
sure,
all the top
he makes it to his box. A-OK. So your leader, Chad Frankenfield, by 1.6 seconds over Nick Massey. Then it's Ethan Stanley, Tate Lytle, Kean Raleigh, Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell, Trey Eidson, Joe Francis, and Tyler Popp. As Brent, the speed has picked up here. Within a matter of 1 second, we had Garrison Hogan set the overall best lap of a 53.546. And then just 1 second later, Justin Fuller, 53.521.
Yeah, these guys that just pitted are going to have to hustle, and these track, and this is probably their last set unless they get a yellow, so they're going to have to use every bit of tire they have to get back.
Now,
to
speaking of last set, Brent, we're going to go ahead and take our last set of commercials here with 17 laps to go. We'll hear from our premier partners, and then when we come back, we'll tell you about a few more of them here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere. It's the Speedway 175 from Indianapolis here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series.
But experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We are back here at Indianapolis. It's the Speedway 175 in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. Of course, for all your photography needs, head over to rebilasphoto.com. Let Mark know that the Elite Racing Network sent you, and he will take just about any picture that you might want or imagine. That guy can do it. You just heard from Blue Egg Marketing as well, or you just heard from TA Services, who's one of our premier partners. Alongside Blue Egg Marketing, Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. As well, Worldwide Technology Raceway, a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And Brent, we are back here, 14 laps to go. It's the boss man, Chad Frankenfield, leading the way. But as we were talking about on commercial break, tonight over on Flow Racing, after this, it's going to kick off in about 1 hour time. The NASCAR Pinty Series is going to hit the dirt. So something to watch there. And quick time in their practice session that just ended not too long ago. Ken Trader leading the way, of course.
Yeah.
NASCAR driver and former NASCAR driver Ken Trader, all-around racing guru. He went quick time ahead of Trayton Lapsovich and DJ Kennington. Kennington, a name that many might know. He raced in the Daytona 500 before. Alex Tagliani up there as well. You got lots of drivers that have dipped into the NASCAR ranks. Dexter Stacy, Alex Gannett, Andrew Ranger, Stuart Friesen there as well.
I was going to say, I watched Ken Schrader over at SRX a few weeks back, and they put on a good show.
He raced SRX on Thursday.
Yeah, that as well. The whole frequent flyer miles piling up for him.
Yeah, he was racing at the Sunset Speedway here in Ontario a couple days ago. He'll be at Oswego the next 2 days racing with the Pinty Series. Another driver, I want to give him a shout out just because he races at the track that I announce at every Sunday. David Hebert, or for you not French people, David Hebert, or Hebert, currently fifth in practice there as well. So Congratulations to David on his opportunity tonight in the Pinty Series. Gonna make his first start, so always cool.
Nice. Oh, it's like another spot gained there by. Jeez, I gotta remember.
Justin Fuller.
A lot of new people in this league.
Justin
lately.
Fuller, Garrison Hogan working their way forward. They get by Barbecue Chip, also known as Joe Francis, as Chad Frankenfield does continue to lead with 12 laps remaining. He's done a phenomenal job here tonight. Really can't ask for much more out of that number 15 machine. He's given himself a 3.5-second lead over Nick Massey, who's had a very, very strong season debut here tonight. Can't complain too much about that at all. Yeah. Tate Lytle, very strong as well. As you see a little bit further back, Tyler Fody gets by Trey Holmes. I hear Ethan Burrell giving a bit of a thank you. I think he just got by Trey Eidson. Yep. As you see Tate Lytle get by Nick Massey. Move Lytle up to second. Is Frankenfield going to come around and take 11 laps to go here? John Cutlip works his way forward. He gets by Jeff Green. Going to have his eyes set on Tyler Popp. Cutlip currently scored in position 18, now going for 17th here. So pit strategy really came into play here tonight, Brent, as we see drivers a lot further back than they were running earlier, just based off of when they opted to come down.
And that's the sword you take at this track. You pit early and you pay the price later, or you pit later and pay the price early. And we're seeing that with this track. It's almost identical to Pocono. You want that.
So just an update for those of you keeping score at home. Drivers out of this one: Josh Robin, Harrison Talon, Andrew Hardcastle, and Jess Story. Everyone else still running on the racetrack. We have, I believe, Rory Collins, the first car, 1 lap down. 29 cars on the lead lap here with 10 laps to go. So very strong efforts here tonight by quite a few of these drivers. They should definitely be very proud of what they've done here this evening at Indy. Of course, as I say that, it could all go to you-know-what here. But one thing I want to point out, Tate Lytle has cut 0.7 of a second off of Chad Frankenfield's lead here within the last 3 laps.
Yeah, the draft here is so important, but I just don't know if Tate's got enough time to catch him unless we get a yellow.
He's still cutting into it. I wonder if Chad's kind of taking it a little easy, trying to avoid sliding up into those outside walls at all. But Tate got by Nick Massey, and he's separated himself very, very quickly from Nick. Over 1.2 seconds now between second and third.
Yep. And look at like I said, look at those Graham Rahal numbers in that 15. Inspired performance by Chad tonight.
Yeah, and you know, Graham had an inspiring performance himself this past weekend. Of course, missed the Indianapolis 500, ended up racing in it anyways due to an injury to our friend here at Elite, Stephen Wilson, who I hope is doing better. I haven't really heard much since the Indy 500, but hopefully he's doing much better. And then this past weekend, Graham came back to Indy for the first time and put himself on the pole. So definitely an inspiring performance by that driver, as Ethan Stanley gets a piece of the outside wall, loses spots to Scott Crump and Garrison Hogan. That moves Stanley outside of the top 10.
Yeah, and Stanley, I believe, was one of the first who pitted in this cycle, so his tires are really paying
He
the price
was
for it.
the first of our front runners, I do believe, to come down pit road, Brent. So good call on that, Chad. Chad was a little slow right there through 1 and 2. Maybe just taking it easy. 2.3 seconds is the gap between first and second. Then another 1.8 back to Nick Massey in third. Ethan Burrell, another second back in fourth. And then 0.3 back to Trey Eidson, currently running in position number 5. Justin Fuller, who started on the front row. Oh, Jaden Racimus has himself a bit of a moment with the outside wall once again, able to gather that 0.7 machine back up. Not the night that Jaden was looking for, but as a rookie, you know what? You take every opportunity to get the track time, learn these tracks, learn these drivers, and continue charging your way forward. So every opportunity is a learning opportunity in the racing world. Isn't that right, Brent?
Yep, indeed. And it doesn't come overnight. And this track especially, like, it's hard for a rookie to race here.
Absolutely. One driver that I do want to touch on here, kind of expected him to be a little bit further up in the field. Latham Joyner, driver of the 03 machine, started 35th. He's running 21st, so he's up 14 spots, which is a great gain on the day, but kind of expected him to be further up in the field.
Yeah, this is just another classic example of the trap position game.
As Jacob Adams comes down pit road here late, I think he had himself a bit of a date with the outside wall. That will likely run an end to his day, as he does come back. He does come back out, but he will be scored, I do believe, 1 lap down. So the lead now less than 2 seconds between Lytle and Frankenfield. We're going to have to keep an eye on Tate Lytle as he tries to close that gap on Chad. Not too far ahead of Chad, we do see a lap car. That is Jesse Racimus, who is just ahead of the Frankenfield machine. If Chad catches him at the wrong time here on the racetrack, that may make it more complicated for Chad to get by and give Tate a great opportunity to close that gap further. As we see Chad come through 3, he's headed for turn 4, and this time by he will face 5 laps to go. Jaden Racimus in the outside wall once again, as Crump gets by Weeks for position 9. Frankenfield going to come and take 5 laps to go. The gap at the line, 1.7 seconds between Frankenfield and Lytle. Lytle doing everything he can to try to close that gap. Now it's Burrell that gets by Massey. Move Ethan Burrell to position number 3. He's going to take Trey Eidson with him. Eidson up to 4th. It's Massey back to position number 5. So Massey, unfortunately, getting double dipped there on lap 65. Unfortunate for Nick Massey, as we see Chad now coming up to the rear of the Jesse Racimus machine. I've got all the names jumbled up here this lap, Brent.
Yeah.
As Chad closes up on Jesse, 1.5 seconds, so Tate gained 0.2 of a second that lap. He's going to need to gain a heck of a lot more if he wants to get there, that's for sure.
Yep, exactly. I just don't know if he's got the time. Oh, we got to...
Kean Raleigh loses a couple spots. Justin Fuller and Garrison Hogan go on by. Move Raleigh back to 8th. He was running 6th. Fuller now in 6th. Hogan in 7th. As Chad's still behind the Jesse Racimus machine. Last thing that Chad wants to see at this point is a flag that is not the white flag to be displayed next.
I just don't know if he's got enough car if he gets a yellow at this point.
As we are side by side for 3rd, it's Trey Eidson on the bottom, Ethan Burrell up top. Burrell holding on to the right rear of that machine. Ooh, we have a moment here. Norgard and Racimus both registering some contact there. Able to continue on, as we do see Trey Eidson has moved into that position. What's kind of interesting here is both those cars, Mobil 1 sponsored.
Heck yeah.
Mobil 1 Ford, 1 Toyota. Whoa, who was that? Was that Tate? It was. Tate Lytle had a little bit of a kiss with that outside wall. That might run an end to his effort, as we see Jacob Adams making a move on some of the lead lap cars. He's on the inside of Nick Massey. Going to try to get by him. Then, of course, Ethan Burrell and Trey Eidson to work his way forward. Currently scored as the last car on the first car 1 lap down is Jesse Racimus. Jesse Racimus apparently did not take left side tires on his pit stop. Something happened there. That explains why he's fallen so far back. He's just explained to Tate Lytle that he's not sure if his left side tires are going to make it to the end. So that definitely is something that's a little scary if you're the second place Tate Lytle.
Yeah, probably anyone behind him in general.
Absolutely, as Chad Frankenfield coming down the back straightaway, heading for turn 3. Next time around, he should see the white flag as long as nothing happens here in the next couple of turns. This has been a phenomenal race here at Indianapolis. Just one caution, a solo spin by Harrison Talon on lap 14, and we have been green ever since. As Chad Frankenfield coming down the front straightaway, he's going to face the white flag this time. As Jaden Racimas had a big moment, but it will stay green. White flag has been displayed. It's Chad Frankenfield out front by 2.1 seconds over Tate Lytle.
Just an inspiring drive to finish and what has been a winless drought for Chad in this league.
Chad Frankenfield, you know that if nothing happens here in this last half of a lap, which it's looking like he should be okay, he's going to pick up a victory at a racetrack that means so much to him. He's had one heck of a summer, Brent, with some personal issues with their family dog and whatnot as well. And for him to come home and pick up a victory in absolutely dominating fashion here, as he's going to do, is very special. As Chad Frankenfield comes off of 4, he's coming down to the yard of bricks. It's Chad Frankenfield picking up the victory here late, as we have an incident between Trey Holmes and I believe Braxton DeWeese as well. We're going to take a look at that one, Brent, but what a job the Chad Frankenfield just did to take that victory. As we're going to rewind this here, just see if there happens to be any further incidents that we might have to take care of.
Looks like he just got in. It's like he tried reacting on him, and he got a little loose and came down on Trey. And what a job by Trey to keep it off anything other than the grass there.
Yeah, Trey Holmes with some unfortunate contact there. Jeff Green also registering a bit of end of race contact. Let's just make sure that there was no funny business. Looks like he's okay. Latham Joyner just doing some drifting. Oh! As we're gonna head down to the racetrack and we see Chad Frankenfield coming up to the yard of bricks. Brent Jones, I do see our runner-up, Tate Lytle, standing by there in the waiting room. Why don't we go ahead and bring him in for a quick conversation? I'll let you kick off that interview with Tate Lytle, our runner-up here tonight.
Yeah, Tate Lytle, this is Brent Jones, the Elite Racing Network booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, so that was a race. How did you feel about tonight with the track and all that?
The track was fine. I don't know, it was pretty fun. The setup trended tight toward the end of the run, and I just kind of overcooked it there on that last 20 lap run trying to catch Chad. I maybe let him get out one lap. Maybe if I would have pitted one lap earlier, I might have had a chance, but I don't know, we evened off just enough. I probably needed to pit with him because I felt like I had a little bit better pace than him. I just couldn't quite get a run enough to get around him. But he played the strategy right and obviously didn't make many mistakes, so props to him. I know he loves this track, so cool for him to get a win here.
Yeah, when you were trying to chase him down the last 2 laps, did he have like anything left in the tank, or was that just for shit for you?
No, we were toast. I burned a little right front on not really even trying, getting around the 68, like the second lap on those tires, and I knew it was going to be a waiting game. I was trying to cool them off, but I mean, I also had to make up 10 seconds, so I couldn't really wait too much. So, but come up second and a half or so short, maybe 2 seconds short, and but you know, whenever you're upset with the second place finish, it wasn't too bad of a night.
All right, Robert, I'm going to hand it off to you here.
Yeah, Tate, like you mentioned, anytime you can be upset with a second place finish is definitely a pretty solid night that you've had. Finished 2.3 seconds back of Chad. And you mentioned that maybe the pit call might have made a difference for you with the tires being a little bit worn at the end. Is there anything else you might have been able to do to catch him there? Or was it really just Chad Frankenfield's race to win here tonight?
I don't know. He was obviously pretty fast. He was probably the fastest out of all of us, especially on the shorter run. I felt like before we pitted, I was kind of on his tail that whole last 15 laps of that run, and I felt like me and Trey were a little bit better, but I would get in Chad's wake about 2 or 3 tenths behind him, and Trey got into my wake a couple tenths behind me, and we just couldn't really do anything with each other. And I figured that I was either going to have to short him or run long and hope that got me enough of a tire advantage to catch back up. But yeah, I wasn't going to pit before lap 45, and he pitted on 43 or 44. And hindsight, I should have pitted on 45. I waited until 47 or 48, but yeah, it wasn't quite enough. But he ran a great race, and obviously, like I said, he loves this track. So I'll if I'm going to lose to somebody, I don't mind losing to Chad here.
Absolutely. And before we let you go here tonight, I do want to just ask you about Las Vegas next week. How are you feeling about that racetrack? 200 lap, 300 miler coming up in Vegas.
I mean, I feel just as good as anybody, but I mean, we obviously have a pretty stacked field, and we added in a couple guys like Trey Eidson, Kyan Raleigh, Justin Fuller. We've added 3 or 4 guys that can win each week. So it's not just, the same old 5 or 6 guys. There's 8 or 9 or 10 of us now. So I think that, I don't know. We'll see where we pan out. I know Josh Adams is really good there. I don't know if he races in this series, but I know he's got something figured out at Vegas, and Crump's pretty fast at Vegas. And I don't know. We'll see where we pan out. Should be in the top 10, but I mean, these days you don't really know where inside the top 10 you're going to be. There's so many guys that are fast.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give, sponsors you want to thank for helping put you on the racetrack?
I mean, yeah. Brent Wednesday's gone by, Vintage Racing Apparel. Check him out. His Etsy store has got a lot of cool stuff on it. I normally run a JD Designs car, but this week, or in the Xfinity Series, run a Harpoon Design car, so go check out Brantley at Harpoon Designs. He's always got the latest and greatest on trading paints, and he'll do custom ones for you as well. And shout out to Chad for putting up with all of us, and good thing for him is he was able to get himself a win tonight. That's pretty cool, but really wanted to deny him of that, but if we couldn't, I'll be all right with him.
Absolutely. And once again, congratulations on a strong run here tonight, Tate, and we'll see you Wednesday in the Cup Series.
Copy that.
Brent, that was Tate Lytle, your runner-up here tonight at Indianapolis. And now coming up into the booth is Trey Eidson, who I've got a couple questions for here before I hand it over to you. Hey, Trey, it's Robert up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Trey, another strong run here tonight. You seem to be ticking those off rather consistently lately. And why don't you walk us through the run that you had here tonight at Indy? And do you think you had a shot at these guys at the end?
I probably would have needed 10 or 15 more laps. I really, if Tate would have gotten to Chad, I would have been pretty upset at myself just because I gave away so much time on in lap, out lap, probably pit entry. I lost like 2 or 3 seconds to him. So if he would have, because me and Tate were kind of right there together before we all started pitting. So if he would have got to Chad and won, I probably would have been a little upset and not as happy with third. But I don't know. I was gaining like 3-4 tenths a lap on Chad. Tate was coming back to me pretty quick. I think he burnt his stuff up. But eventually that probably would have leveled off. I still had about 3.5 seconds to go. So I kind of ran top 5, ran 3rd to 5th to 6th the whole night. So finished 3rd. So finish where you ran. Can't be too upset with that. This isn't one of my favorite tracks, and I haven't ran it in a few years, especially the new version. I was like a second and a half off in practice. Picked up quite a bit in qualifying, and then just kind of found a rhythm and a pace that I could run, and a line that I was comfortable with, and it actually took care of the right front, and I was actually really good on the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. You show great pace here tonight, and I do have to ask, over the month of August, you've seemed to have found your footing here in Elite and really been clicking off some really solid finishes. You kicked it off with an 8th place finish in the ARCA series at Kansas. Then you won in this series last week at Texas. You finished 2nd at Bristol in the ARCA series, and then you won at Charlotte last night. Congratulations on that. But and then third again tonight. What's been working out for you here over the last month that has really helped you find these great finishes?
I think it's just seat time. Like I've been sim racing since 2003, and I've been on iRacing since '08. So it's not like I'm new to sim racing. I just new to the league, obviously, but I've been league racing for years still. But I would only run like once a week, and I don't do any open racing. I don't do any of the road to pro, none of that stuff. So I literally jump. I would still do it, but I jump on here, get about 30 minutes of practice, qualify, race. But I would only do it once a week. So now I'm racing 3-4 times a week. I think it's just kind of being just doing it more, learning what works, what doesn't, instead of being so I guess kind of clueless when I jump on here. Like especially when they run updates and you don't know what it did to the tires or the aero, and so just racing more. That's you hear the real life drivers say they could get in something every day, and it's going to make them better. So of course, probably getting more comfortable with who I'm racing around. That always helps. I've been competitive in ARCA, and I still haven't won in that series, and it's like driving me nuts. So
Maybe tomorrow at Talladega.
yeah, I don't want to win I'll take a win at a plate race, but I don't want to win. I dominated Chicago, threw that away with fuel. I probably would have won Kansas, and we got an incident late. So it's like there's the mile and a halfs keep getting away. So I'm like something's. I'll gladly take the truck and Xfinity wins because they're higher ranked series, so that's awesome. But I kind of just want to get that Arco in and get that off my plate. So, but to your question, yeah, absolutely. I think it's just racing more and just turning laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Seat time is always key. We talked about that earlier tonight, and you just mentioned it again. So definitely good to see that the seat time is paying off. I'm going to hand it over to Brent Jones, see if he has anything to ask you here before we get to your shout-outs.
Hey, this is Brent. We're only like 4 races into this season. Do you see yourself as a contender for the chase or even the championship down the line if things continue to go your way?
Oh yeah.
Chase, absolutely. Don't know how far I would go in that, or get to a championship, but I seem to as long as my luck kind of stays how it's been, I think we're knocking off top 10s. So you come championship time. Points add up, and you can put yourself in position to contend for a championship. So I would have to really deep dive the schedule, but I feel like the speed's there, and I think my racecraft's all right. I don't think I've made anybody mad to where come chase time they're gonna cash in on me. So I'm gonna try to keep it that way. But absolutely, you run top 5, top 10 every week. I'd say you can consider yourself a championship contender.
You have any shout outs, people you want to thank while we're still here?
No, nobody. Just Fuller. Got to thank him. He's a good teammate. He kind of helped. I followed him around there in practice for a few laps, and I still wasn't very good, but I learned quite a bit behind him. So thanks to him. And then all you guys that make the league go round. So sponsors of the league, Chad and all the admins. So having fun. Great league to be a part of.
Indeed. Have a good run tonight. We'll see you around, Trey.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
We're going to go ahead and bring in Chad Frankfield. I'll let you kick this one off with our winner here tonight.
Chad, long time no seen Victory Lane. How's it feel tonight, buddy?
Pretty good. Anytime you can win is always a good thing.
Yeah, we were sawing you towards the end of that run there. You were starting to fall off a little bit. Did you have any thoughts or concerns that you were not going to be able to hang on there?
Yeah, I felt like I pitted too early, potentially there. But as the race went on, my hope was that tires were going to balance out a little bit, and if I could just keep it to where Tate might have thought that I could still win on old tires, maybe he would push it and either burn his stuff up or tap the wall, and I guess that's what happened. So, it worked out.
Yeah, we kind of saw that around 4 to go. He did brush the wall there a little bit, but yeah. With the summer you've had, with everything that's going on, how does this feel as far as long-term sense? You got that burden off you now. You can.
It's great. Obviously, I do this for fun, and it's it's always fun when you can get on and just have a nice night of racing. especially after the last week where I feel like I could have potentially won last week. I was on the pole and the power went out. So, it's good from a standpoint of not having to be worried now about, we still got to stay in the top 20, I think 20 in points, but, you know, obviously we're there now. So
10-4, Robert, you got anything to add here?
Yeah, Chad, just looking at your statistics, you have won here in the league on a road course, but how special is it to win at what's probably your favorite place in the entire world here on the oval tonight?
it's incredible. I mean, I've come up short so many times, whether it was a truck, Xfinity car, Cup car, Indy car. I've won some carb day stuff, but nothing that paid points and had a lot on the line. And it finally just came down to just executing, and it's definitely one of the bigger wins for sure.
Absolutely. And after the summer you've had, hasn't been the easiest for you with some stuff in your personal life as well as the craziness of this sim world. So obviously got to feel really special getting that win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge relief. I'm really trying to work on just being ready to go every week, and it's definitely been helping. And like I said, just this stuff always helps you get through the week. So, I mean, it's the same reason why most of us do it. So, just want to thank you guys. I want to thank Kicking the Tires, Little Eagle Racing for supporting the car, and just thank all of our sponsors, Premier Partners, and everybody that makes Elite go.
Well, you beat me to my final question, so congratulations on your victory here tonight, and we hope to see you back here in Victory Lane more often.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
Absolutely. Brent, that is Chad Frankenfield, the winner tonight. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. He did win earlier this year, the calendar year. I believe it was June 1st was Chad's last victory here in Elite. It came in the Warriors for Peace Open Wheel Series at Milwaukee. And other than that, Chad has not won in a stock car since March when he won one of the truck races at Lanier. So it's been quite some time.
That's a long drought. That's what I was saying.
That's a long drought
even for him.
Especially for a driver of Chad's caliber. It definitely, it's hard when you have such a winless drought. I mean, for guys like you and me, anytime we get a chance to win, it's really cool. But guys that are consistently up at the front, running in the top 5, chasing those victories, if you go months without a win, that's tough.
Yep, it does, especially for a guy like him who's used to winning, used to running well. It does affect the morale for a while, believe it or not.
Absolutely, and it does show that the league as a whole has really stepped it up, especially this season. The competition level is absolutely insane, and I love to see it as we take a look at the results here tonight. Chad Frankenfield, of course, your winner ahead of Tate Lytle and Trey Einson. Ethan Burrell, Nick Massey rounding out the top 5. Justin Fuller, Garrison Hogan, Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, and Kean Raleigh round out the top 10. Couple notables outside the top 10, Tyler Fody and Ethan Stanley in 11th and 12th. John Cutlip in 16th there as well. And for the Braxton DeWeese fans, he finished 15th tonight. A little bit further back from them is where we find Latham Joyner coming home 19th. Jeff Green there in 20th. Johnny Thomas 21st. A couple other notables in the field. Jacob Adams thought he'd be further up here tonight. Had some issues. Unfortunately relegated to the rear of the field. Vincent Isabella started on pit road, just not able to really gain anything with the lack of cautions tonight. Josh Robin just behind him there in 33rd. But Brent, why don't you go ahead and give us your final thoughts here tonight after what has been a very strong night of racing here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series.
Yeah, it just never ceases to amaze me the growth of this league. You got guys out there going that are brand new, going up against these grizzly veterans, and it's just the more I look at the last few weeks, the more we come to realize how this league's grown, and it's just a lot of heads were being used tonight in the right way, and we saw a really entertaining race naturally.
Absolutely, and it was a phenomenal night. Very happy with the product that we saw out on the racetrack, and very happy to have you with me up here in the booth tonight. Of course, we did miss Chris Wright, who was battling an illness. We hope you feel better, buddy, and you can be back with us maybe tomorrow night in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. But for all of us here at the Elite Racing Network and our great sponsors, Blue Wing Marketing, TA Services, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Rebilas Photography, everyone that you don't see behind the scenes, Chad Frankenfield, Dave Huckleberry, Brent Jones, Chris Wright, myself, this has been another production of the Elite Racing Network. Thank you for tuning in with us here tonight, and we can't wait to be back with you here tomorrow. Same time, same place, not same place. We're going to be at Talladega tomorrow, but same time, 7:30. The broadcast will kick off here on the Elite Racing Network. It's the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series, running the Gen 4 cars tomorrow, live from Talladega in the regular season finale. So drama sure to be through the roof as we hunt down those final playoff spots. But anyways, that'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for tuning in. And Brent, why don't you go ahead and throw this off for us, bud?